Hey, how's it going, my friend? Welcome to the channel. My name is Alvin, and I want to do another video today to talk about the topic is self-care. And for me, I think this is something that's come up because I've been hearing about it recently in social media, online spaces, and I feel like it's something that's worth talking about and sharing my own 2 cents on it. Now, I know of many things, there's always like this the important element of balance and with or moderation, right? Um, and I think this applies a lot with especially when we're talking about or when I'm talking about self-care, because when it's not being used healthy, it can be an excuse or to be able to just basically be selfish or just work only in one's own interest and forego or forget about everybody else's or their needs and wants and things like that. I think there's a balance that can be achieved in relationships. And so we all have relationships, right? You have relationships, right? Friends, families, perhaps a loved one in your life, uh, colleagues, etc. And I think there's one relationship that's actually is really important, and I would even argue more important, more of a priority than all those relationships. And that's your relationship with yourself. That's foundational, in my opinion, because the way I see impact and influence, it works inside out. You know, it's like also looking at from perspective of I can't give to others what I don't have within myself. You know, and it's like it's important to be able to cultivate love within myself, for example, so I can truly give and share that love with other people. And it's also think about the perspective of I need to make sure my cup's full before I can give some to others. Because if I try to give on empty, it's almost like the analogy, or it's like this the saying like uh, a broke person trying to help another broke person. And I use the term loosely because in essence, I don't see any of us as broken at all. No one's broken. We're all just having a process, a journey. We're all just moving through in this beautiful school we call we all call life. Um, and so your relationship with yourself, with self-care, is the most important thing. It needs to be. And again, and that's saying that from that inside out perspective, that isn't to say that it should be the priority all the time, but it's recognizing that if I want to affect change and create an impact, a lasting impact with my family, loved ones, partner, colleagues, I can do so from within myself, leading by example, being a positive example, right? Letting my actions and words from time to time let them speak for themselves, but particularly actions. And you could say behavior, how I carry myself, type of thing. How you carry yourself, your behavior, your actions. And so it's important to make sure you got yourself before you can truly help somebody else. You know, think about the analogy, how I've often said it's like a classic example of like, I don't know if you've ever been on an airplane and when they go through instructions and when they talk about where if there's like a if there's been a loss of air pressure in the aircraft, that there's little these masks, these air masks come down from where you see it as a passenger, and they always instruct in that particular instance to make sure you have yours on first before you help somebody else. You know, that's just like a real life situation, but to and I share that to kind of give a sense of the practicality and how that also translates spiritually in I'm gonna say me I in my relationship with myself, in your relationship with yourself. You know, when you got yourself taken care of, you could say optimally, and I use that term loosely. Um, you can give your best to other people, to those around you. And I think something to really consider in this giving, there needs to be this need to I believe, and I think it's important to distinguish them to distinguish between being a servant or being of service. Being a servant is, oh, I'm being completely 100% selfless. Forget myself, whatever. I'm going to help other people. It's like that person that wants to help other people. I'm going to help this person, but I can't help myself. If someone were, if you've come across that type of person, I can help people, but I can't help myself. Would you think would you think some type of way or kind of question like, okay, what's up with that? That's like a doormat. That's like completely leaving myself out. And that's why when I think about self-care, I think it's healthy to have a tiny grain of selfishness, tiny grain, tiny grain, because it's recognizing that as I'm giving to you, I'm also giving to myself. As I'm giving to myself, I know that I'm also giving to those around me. I'm giving to you. It's just looking at the impact that we have, that we can make, that's inside out. Can't make change forcing it outside in. Of course, we can influence, but if we really want to create that lasting impact within ourselves, I mean, forget trying to make that impact for other people. People that have their own choice, their own freedom to do so. And so, I mean, if I want something, if I want to support somebody, I gotta make sure I'm a positive example and not just like be very like hypocritical. I'll say one thing and then my behavior does something else. Like, have you do you recognize any people in your life that say do this one thing, do this, trying to give you advice about life and stuff like that, and then you observe their actions, there's past actions, and they're probably still doing it now, and they're not walking their talk. That to me is kind of suspect. See, that's right there the example of trying to change people like that. It's not it's not going to do anything. It's not healthy. It's not a best way to be an agent of change, a positive change at that. And so, all this to say, self care, when handled correctly, will be truly important because it really brings in this, it really creates this environment of win win where everybody can win. And I believe that is truly reality when it comes to in the realm of spirit, when it comes to looking at the big picture of life and why we're all here and the opportunities that are there that are available to us in our own growth and evolution. It really can be a win-win. But I think the how things are set up when you look at nature, when you look at society, how this is competition everywhere. And competition, some of it's good, but too much of it is just it can take away the big picture, the way I see it. So it's just everybody. We can't have situations where everybody can win, and a lot of things have to that need to happen. Part of it is like communication, and amongst many things. I don't want to dive too much into that, but it can happen. And so I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the whole self care thing, and I think it's important that it's not all about being selfish. It's about recognizing that it starts with me first, because my relationship with myself, your relationship with yourself, you take that with you into your other relationships. You know, there's a saying, hurt people hurt people. If people are out there doing terrible things, disrespectful things to other people, that's only a reflection of their relationship with themselves. If anybody, think about it. If you feel, if when you, I don't know if that's true, but when I felt really good, I feel inspired to just want to share my joy and all this with the people around me, and I want to help uplift. There's like this desire, like I want everybody to win because I'm winning. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fulfilled. I want everybody else to feel the same way. I don't know if you ever experienced that. If you have, well, then then I'm hope you know what I'm talking about. So definitely think it's important to strive towards that as a practice, to cultivate that relationship with yourself daily. And it doesn't have to be all you know consuming. It doesn't have to like get so heavy. Actually, I don't want to say that, because I remember, and I think one of the things that can really get in the way of that in our relationship with ourselves, the technology is a huge aspect, like our phones, for example. I remember somebody on Instagram shared an interesting point where she said, um, our phones are with us more than we are. And I was like, ooh, that actually, I feel like that sounds like a bar, you know what I mean? To like a song. It's pretty interesting. And I think there's a lot of sense. I think there's a lot of truth to that, where it's just like cultivating that relationship is like recognizing like, hey, it's like having a good clear sense of who we are. Like the way I see it, we're souls having with the physical body having a human experience in this school, learning, going through life lessons, trying to find our own unique way, trying to live our unique life purpose, many of us, and honoring our wants and needs and evaluating and clarifying things for ourselves. Like, for example, like, what do you want out of life? What do you wish to bring more into your life? What steps can you take now to move you towards that direction? You know, it's like asking those very important questions that I think are ingredients of self-care. Because, and it's amazing in my experience when I've done the work, because I've been doing that from, I've always been an introspective and reflecting person for years, for years, countless years. And in my practice, I've been doing for so long, and I've experienced and seen for myself the impact that it's had on those around me, friends, families, and people I come across. It's just it's insane, but it also kind of, it makes you smile, and it makes you chuckle sometimes. Because it's like, it's just interesting how that works to really understand that inside out impact, and why self care I think is important because of that reality. And so, something to think about. It's just having this balance. It's like, it's not about me first, me second, or me third. It's just knowing that me first, and then there's the my friends and families, and those in the local community, and then of course looking at the big picture of society, you could say planet Earth. I like to look at them from the sense of like loyalties, loyalty to myself, loyalty to like my smaller unit, like friends, families, colleagues, like I said, and then loyalty to the big picture, society and planet Earth. Just to give you little three keys there. um, and just understanding that all those relationships play a part, but understanding where it begins, where it starts. This is very, very important distinction. So again, just really want to clarify that, really want to emphasize that it's not about me first, me second, me third, because that in itself, if I'm being arrogant and being so self-centered, selfish, that's actually a poor relationship with myself. Because, and that's the same thing can be said about you. If you're being selfish and thinking about yourself all the time and not considering other people, that is a poor relationship with yourself, because you're connected with everyone and everything around. You are one with all things, as a soul with the physical body. But specifically, the soul part, as a soul, as a spirit, you are one with everything. And that's a big picture for just to think about if you haven't. And so that's something that I just wanted to kind of share on in today's video, just to kind of give you some perspective on that, and why I think it's important that everyone take some times and prioritize their own wellness in a responsible way. And I think it's important to look to those who are good examples, and then just and to observe and like, okay, what are some things this person is doing well? Successful people generally have a good relationship with themselves. And it's just like a matter of like how I would see, like, okay, what's the relationship with themselves? What's the ingredient there that's like make that I admire in a certain person? And that could be a good way to just like reflect and think about for yourself. And then, and if it's something that stands out to you, there's a good chance you have a bit of that, let's say, quality within yourself, because it's like real recognize real. Like you can't sense something you don't have, in that sense. I mentioned about can't give what you don't have, but then also you can't really sense the qualities in other people and be aware of it if you don't have any bit of some of it yourself. you know so I say that to kind of to get perspective, and also like, hey, it takes one to know one. If there's something that you admire in somebody, it's a good chance you have some of those qualities in yourself. And on the flip side as well, if there's something that is a quality or something in somebody that bothers you, you may have some of that, and you may have some of that to some degree within yourself. And that is just simply an opportunity for you to look at within yourself, to refine, and just like, okay, how can I do better in that area, type of thing. And again, it's all an opportunity. It's all within, everybody has a right to grow at their own convenience, at their own timing. It's just take what I say with a grain of salt. If anything resonates, awesome, great. And if it doesn't, well, I hope that perhaps at some point it does. Put it on the mental shelf. I've always do that when I listen to people talk and share ideas and stuff like that. And when I put things on mental shelves, at some point I've had experiences that really clarify a lot of things. And in some ways, in many ways, it's solidified things within myself. So yeah. So just wanted to just share these thoughts on self-care. And yeah, so that's it for today's video, y'all. I appreciate it. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate your time and attention. Take care.